with our point of difference, I think one of the things that we do really well is getting the audience to understand who the competitors are and caring about the matches. Because, as you said, if you're watching East versus West, and then there's 10 matches on there and you've never heard of either guy, it's like, well, I don't care. I don't care who wins. I can't even say their names. They have no personality. There's no video package showing me anything about either of them. It's just they've walked out onto the stage and now they're standing at the table. It's like, all right, well, these are the next two guys. I don't even know what's going to happen. I'm not invested in that. I think what we do well is, we did a video this week, or Dave did a video on Mario Timbarkas, and just highlighted this is who Mario Timbarkas is. And, he's obviously one of our guys that competes with AWE. And it's just trying to get people to know who these people are, so that when they go on a stage, an AWE stage, they go, oh, I know who that is. Oh, he's really strong inside, or he's a top roller, or he's this, or he's really aggressive, or he does that, or whatever. So, to have the characters and have the audience understand who's competing, I think that's one of the things that we do quite well.
Matt, you're saying that, bro. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So with those non-arm wrestling buddies, the only person they knew on that card last weekend was Travis, because he was my boy and they seen him on my Facebook and all that. They were all interested in that. So let's go a step further. I think one of you big organizations out there, you guys need to take a page from the UFC when they came out with that reality show, with in the house reality show. I forgot what it was called, like
The
toughest.
Ultimate Fighter.
The Ultimate Fighter. Yeah, I was around UFC then, and I was hanging out with all those guys when they first started. I think we need that in the arm wrestling world. I think that's the only way you're gonna get non-arm wrestlers watching an arm wrestling TV show. You do it as a series. Now, the whole time as that's going on, they're all getting to know the characters. They're getting to know the arm wrestlers. They're starting to say like, oh, I like this guy. He reminds me of myself. They start like finding their guy. They start following that. Now at the end of that, you have the big matches and all that. So now they're all vested in it. Now they're all into it, each character and all. I think that's the way that is going to lead to non-arm wrestlers getting into it. Every other formula I've heard, I mean, we've tried it all for the last 50 years. Like you guys said, we did everything. We're just repeating what we did 20 years ago and wonder why it's not working today. I don't think anybody's did anything like this reality show. I think that's the key. I'm going to say it right now. That's what WAL was working on during COVID, and what they were supposed to come out with was the reality show to come out and launch with their season back. Somebody needs to do that. Marcus, if you're listening, bro, get on guys doing that. Matt, you too, man. Like, bro, I'm telling you, that's the way, bro. That's the one. You just said it. You just said it like that, but that's the format right there, the reality show.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as you know who's competing, and if there's, you can paint the picture as well, especially in those sort of reality show type scenarios where you get a lot of time to build this character and really put their point across. And you can paint them as a villain or a hero, or, somebody who's got maybe a family member that they're doing it for, or some sort of, purpose. But having a character arc, the same as any TV show, what you want to see them at the start, you want to see their journey, and you want to see how they come out at the end, and whether they're a good guy or a bad guy. And it's like, but then, the main event, and it's a real fight or it's a real match, it's like, okay, well, I know everything that's going on with these two guys going into this match. I understand every little nuance as to why he's standing like that and he's doing that, and oh, he looked at him that way, and that's, it can really just sort of push that interest level, as opposed to just purely the match. All the drama that leads up to it is more fun. Or, when McGregor was fighting Mayweather, they were doing like these massive press conference tours, and I think they had about 5 or 6 of these, and they were rating like who won the press conference, McGregor or Mayweather, and it was like, oh, he's up 2-0 on the press conference count, and it's like, that's not even a real thing. But
Yo, how about this? Season one, the two coaches, Devin and Travis, both have their own team. Get fucking 5 guys on each of those teams, one in each weight class. Have them there, show them about their everyday training, what they do for arm wrestling, getting prepared for their match, what they do to lead up, all the stuff, the recovery, going to physical therapists. I mean, you could make this into a whole show, bro. And I mean,
Well, Commercially, the reason why it hasn't happened yet is because the upfront investment that's required to be able to run something like that. And also, that same person who's making that investment needs to have the channel to be able to get it out. And if they're pay per view platforms that they ordinarily using, they don't really have that platform in order to get that out. But it is also why King of the Table has proven to be successful because they're just telling the final chapter of those stories. All the build up of all the career leads to this particular event. So we know who's competing at those events as a community. I don't know if the rest of the world really does, but I think you won't
Just so you
won't
know,
find a
bro,
greater ally in that idea than Hollywood Matt Connolly, for instance.
I'd put it at, man, 20, 30,000. You could put a pilot together that you could go and sell to a production company. And I mean, that's all it would be, bro. We're not talking a big investment here, 20, 30,000, and you could get, a pilot going to sell that. And now you go sell them the season. And I mean, if you got a guy like Devin and Travis to sign on, I think it's a pretty much it's sold, bro. Once they see the following and what they got going on. And I mean, guys like Travis and Devin, they'd understand something like that would work, and I think they would, be willing to work it out to make it happen. What I'm trying to say is because I seen that they didn't relate with the characters, so I'm trying to solve a problem. How can I get them more interested? So what I came up with is I think we should do what UFC did with that reality show, where they would put you in the house, they would get you to know the characters, they'd show
Sure.
them training, going about their days of life, all the drama in the house, because arm wrestlers are fucking crazy and they're gonna start fighting with each other. Then these people that are non-arm wrestlers all of a sudden care because they know the characters, they've already associated with who they like, who they don't like, and now it's their vested interest. So that's where I'm going with it, man. I'm just
I
trying
like
to
that.
solve
I,
problems.
I like that. We've already talked about that whole scenario. The exact same thing.
But
People
what
live
I'm
in the
trying to
fucking.
say is
It's all
we're
it's
just
like
trying
Big
to
Brother.
solve we're trying to solve the problems, brother. We're trying to solve. So what I'm trying to figure out is what do non-arm wrestlers not like that is making them flip the switch, and that's what we're talking about tonight. That's
Okay.
all we're trying to figure out.
And I don't
Okay.
think there's been a traditional sport that's really had to have this discussion because almost all of the popular sports were codified a long time ago. They had their associations in place, they had their rules in place, and they've been working from that base. Arm wrestling's still in this very much this state of flux in that regard, and so there is an opportunity there for people to reimagine how the sport may be presented to the wider public. And Paul's idea there is you need storytelling, you need people to be vested into personalities. These personalities need to be the ones that are driving attention. People aren't necessarily interested in a sport, they're interested in the people behind the sport. If they don't already love a team, it's the same. People love their team first and then they love the best guy in their team when it comes
Exactly.
to a sport, and that guy, if he goes and plays for the opposition, he's not the favorite anymore. But it's different in arm wrestling, and it's different in individual pursuits like tennis and golf. You go with the personality, and it won't matter where that personality competes. So Travis Bagent can compete on any promotion in the world. People are going to be interested in Travis Bagent. So it gives opportunity
Well,
and rise for
Paul had
promotion.
mentioned Paul had mentioned Game of Arms, right? Great show. We all fucking loved it, especially arm wrestlers, right? It was a great show, but they depicted us as kind of barbaric, right? Meeting on in empty warehouses,
Mm.
slaughterhouses, on piers, on docks, anywhere that we could scrounge up a place to have these matches. Which
Call
the
it Happy Meeting in
cinematography
pubs.
made the show, right? The cinematography definitely made the show, the narration made the show, and the storyline made the show. It was a great show. The only thing was is that it wasn't what we really do. We don't meet up in warehouses. We don't bring beer and alcohol and little babies in our arms and shake around money in our hands betting.
But
It
Scott,
made for a
the thing that I think they went wrong with that is they didn't do it on a character base. They went on a team based. So a couple of the characters stuck out from each team, and then you didn't even
no,
know who the other guys on the team were. So
no.
I
I think
think they did.
the teams I think was smart because that
No,
did get a
no, no. Listen,
following.
the season 3 that they were doing, they were revamping it, and they were getting rid of all the teams, and they were just going after characters in arm wrestling because they seen where they went wrong with that first one. Because we had a bunch of guys on there that were on the show, bro. And I don't even know their names. Still, they were boring as hell. It's like, I don't want to mention names and kind of talk shit, but there was a bunch of guys on there where I just scratched my head that made no sense of additions on that. You could have took 5
Right.
guys
Well,
from that whole thing and made the whole show with that, and it would have been so much better. And I think they
that whole
realized that.
show, yeah, the whole show was scrapped together. You know what I mean? They made teams in a wing of a moment. Like they didn't really do much research. They just put teams together. They figured certain people, certain characters, and
But
again,
you could
like you
take
said,
you could take Mike Aiello, you could take Don Underwood, you could take Travis Bazant, and maybe like 1 or 2 other guys, bro, and make that show over, and it'd been 10 times better, and get rid of all those other guys that were just, I don't even
no.
remember their names, that were kind of non-existent on there
Yeah, see, I
because their
disagree just
characters.
because the fact this is what they always do, Paul. UAL, Robert Drink tried to do the exact same thing. He thought, look, if I get this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy, that's all I need. He was wrong. Marvin did the same thing. He thought he could pick all the big names and make a show out of it. It doesn't work that way. You need a team following, like I forget the other gentleman's name. I can't see his
So,
name
so
right
then
now.
how is Devin, bro? Devin, because that's the only guy that sells any event in arm wrestling,
Devin's
bro.
Devin, yeah. Well, Devin's on his own. Devin's
But
on
but
his
but that's what
own.
I'm saying, man. It's the character, bro. His
That's
character is big
oh,
enough.
there's
He
what let's just say there's a dozen guys that are like Devin, but if they're not promoting the sport in the right way, they're only promoting for themselves. Devin
Yeah, but
only
by them
cares
promoting
about
themselves
himself.
is by them promoting themselves is making the sport grow, bro. Devin has literally took our sport on his back and is the man doing it.
You're
Before
wrong.
Devin,
No,
it was
bro.
Travis.
No,
Before Devin, it was
you're
Travis.
wrong.
Here's another one that I'll back it up. I
No.
guarantee East versus West is not making profitable money on any event they throw without Devin on it. I bet you that.
Oh, I think it makes a big difference. That's why he's there. That's why his son's there. That's why the only people that are there are people that have a social media following. It doesn't matter how good you are. It's how big your social media is. You know that.
Well, yeah,
That's what
because
all that.
it's bro. And how do you come big in social media? By being somebody that people want to watch. So yes, that's the formula, bro. But it's the character is the
Sure.
driving force that is making people want to watch that guy, which in turn makes them want to pay for that event. Because if
A
Devin's not
dozen
on the
people.
event, I bet you
A
none of
dozen.
the non-arm wrestlers are buying that event. But if Devin is on that event, I bet you a lot of non-arm wrestlers are buying the event.